Hey guys, and thank you for tuning into a new video. So typically, maybe I'll do like a makeup video, maybe I'll do like something sponsored, or I'll like cover some topics pertaining to business and everything. But I think I'm gonna do like the business talk type of vlog like next time, ish. So that's what I'm gonna be telling you guys about my like 5-minute boyfriend and how that whole situation is gone. Now, was it something that was like really like. Okay, so ideally it was like a public thing. Like I literally like we were like on social media for like a decent bit of time. But it was like one of those things that like I kind of like scrub off the surface of like my like social media pages and everything like that, because I was like, with it being like a 5-minute freaking relationship or thing, it's not something that like needs to just like freaking like stay on my freaking account, so that when we go on there it's not like this was like a boyfriend who was like an ex-boyfriend, and then when you look at it it's like we dated for like 5 fucking minutes. Like it's just, that would be really stupid. So I was like, I'll just like take that off of like Facebook and everything like that. And then like for all the posts and like things that like did go on social media that like showed us like us like a couple, like they were like we had like this like cute little like freaking dinner such day. Like I made like dinner for my family, and then I invited them over to like come have dinner with us, and I did like this whole entire like seafood broil thing. And then my window's open, guys, because it's super freaking hot, and I have my fan on, but I paused it to record this video. So if you hear any background noise, don't mind. It's literally just like my neighbors. They're in like the background of like every freaking like album that I've made. Like sometimes they literally just like, you can hear like people like dropping things or like freaking like closing a freaking gate in the background, and it sounds like it's like a part of the beat, and it literally just became like a part of like the background flow. The freaking shenanigans. But yeah, so that was like the whole freaking main gist of like scrubbing the surface of that whole entire like relationship spiel. And then like towards like the end of us freaking breaking up, I was like, all right, so I'm gonna just stick to focusing on finishing out my school year and work. And as of now, you guys, I have officially completed my final course in my associate's degree, and I'm sad to actually get my diploma. Hopefully it's at some point soon. I literally just finished enrolling for my next semester for my bachelor's degree, so I'm super freaking excited. It's been like one of the most majorly freaking like difficult things of like admissions to literally just enroll for my bachelor's degree program, because I kept running into a freaking glitchy freaking like application setup on the site where they kept trying to like do this like weird little error screen where it's like, well, do you like want to cancel your current program and like switch over to this new program? And it was like, you're currently already in one, so do you want to cancel that and then do like another one? And I was like, oh my gosh, like no, like I want to finish my freaking current program. I'm literally like at the end of it, and after that I want to freaking just like jump into the next freaking program and start my bachelor's degree. So I wanted to enroll like super early. Like I was speaking to one of my alumni reps, like I would say I started talking to them like probably around like Marchish, and it's like June 1st tomorrow. So it's like it's gonna be freaking perfect that we can like have this handled super early, and then after that just jump into like the main gist of like getting into the flow. And then if I can have my admissions and application and everything in at an early enough point, I can literally like skip doing the entire like summer vacation vibes and then jumping into my bachelor's degree, because I'm like, if I want to finish my bachelor's degree within a decent time constraint, pushing it off by like 3 months or so just to do like a summer vacation vibe, and I can literally bring my schoolwork with me anywhere, made no freaking sense. I was like, if I go and do like any like brief vacations or just like, yeah, just majorly if I do like any like vacations, I can just bring my schoolwork with me. And it's like one of those things that like keep me freaking sane. It's like reading the goddamn like news at times, and it's like something that's like super interesting and drawing, like especially when they're in new laws passed and then current major topics that are going on in our society. Like I literally love to like follow those, see what the heck is going on. see how everybody's freaking doing, because I know all the freaking time there's like freaking chaos and drama around here. Like there's always something going on. Like let's see, 2019 we had the freaking like pandemic announcement where it was like, is it gonna get us? Is it not gonna get us? But then it was like, if you paid attention to everything, you know damn well that if there's a major pandemic starting in one country, that's like a major freaking trading partner, number one, and a like major travel spot that is gonna spread to other countries. And then when it got to the entire world, and then like the major announcement dropped in 2020, it was like complete GOMO, and like everybody was like kind of caught off guard. I told my grams about it back in like I think like October or November-ish of like 2019, because I had like to go to the hospital to get like surgery. I had like a freaking abscess, so they had to like freaking like put me under like an observation period, and then after that they had to like put me freaking to like sleep under anesthesia, and then like remove the freaking abscess and everything. It was like cray. I freaking like went to freaking sleep, and I was like, that was like the second time in my life I've been put under anesthesia. The first time was when I was like a kid and I didn't really like think that much of it. But when I got older, I was like, I think that was like one of the most major moments in my life when I can say I actually was like sleeping and I didn't like think of like anything, which is super freaking weird. So then after when I woke up from it, I felt like, oh, well, that's refreshing. So number one, you guys just saved my life. Number two, I'm freaking in pain. And number three, what the hell do I even like jump into thinking about now? So I've been like super freaking zen since I freaking like finished with that whole recovery process, because after that I did think a lot about like my health after, and it's such a part in my daily routine. But a part of doing that was like, okay, so back in like my like late teens-ish, I had like a bit of like a freaking cannabis phase, you know, like the freaking rebel like teenager phase. So I had that, and it lasted from like I was like my sophomore year, because my freshman year I was completely against it. I was like, I would never, and then it would be like people would like offer, and I'd be like, no, like I said when I was a kid I would never, and then like when growing up and hearing about it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to be a hippie. But then I ended up like kind of like going through that phase. So I would say like sophomore year up until like when I turned 19, and then after I had surgery, and then like I freaking got home from the hospital, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna freaking like smoke a freaking blunt. And then I freaking like, I think I had like a clip. I had a clip that I had like before I even went to the hospital. This was like before I started like realizing that I was like, I had like internal bleeding going on. And then there was like a bacterial infection like spreading through my body where the abscess was going, where the abscess was. And it was just like one of those things where I knew there was something going on that was like really freaking odd. But I was like, I can't like see behind me, so I don't really know what's going on. If I look in the mirror, I'm gonna have to like do like some weird angle stuff, and I can like barely even freaking move my body during that. So I ended up telling like my Gramps, I was like, look, Gramps, I'm gonna freaking go to the hospital. I'm gonna call like the freaking ambulance to transport me, because I literally am not gonna be able to like walk to the hospital. It's like, I would say like maybe a total of, let's see, 3-ish, 4. It's like 6 blocks away from my house. So it's like maybe, no, you know, not even gonna say maybe. I definitely will like freaking like pass out from like trying to do that. And then luckily I'm glad that I didn't try that, because when I got to the hospital they told me, they were like, you have like internal bleeding going on, and they were like, you have this bacterial infection like spreading through your body that's gonna make you sicker and sicker, and it'll kill you. So we're gonna have to have that handled. So I freaking stayed in the hospital for like a few days. I'd say I was in there for like 3 freaking days waiting to have the freaking abscess removed, which was like really one of those moments where I was like majorly with being cautious of my health and getting the information that I was told and how I felt initially going into it. I was like, maybe it isn't like the best idea to have me like sitting here waiting for the doctor and constantly telling me that they had to like push it back. They pushed it back from like supposed to be like surgery the second day that I was there, because the first day, like not including like when I got there like initially, because that one was like, I would say I stayed for like a third of the day. And then after that, I like got a room like towards the end of the night after like waiting in the freaking emergency room area because I like went right into that area. And I freaking like got the room, and then they like observed me for the second day, and then they told me like the following day the doctor was gonna come and they were gonna like remove the growth. So like, then I ended up having like freaking scans and everything done like during like the third day and everything like that. So the second day I literally was just like, and they were like constantly drawing my freaking blood, and then you guys like I weigh like freaking like 125, typically 130 on like a freaking like chubby cheek kind of day. So I was like, you guys draw my freaking blood all the time. Like even when I go to the doctor, I have to tell them sometimes like, look, you can draw like probably like 2 vials of blood, but I still get extremely lightheaded. Like no matter how much I freaking like eat or drink, it's like it throws me off. So like after I get my blood drawn, I literally have to like drink some freaking water after, and I always like typically bring one in my bag and like a snack just in case I start getting lightheaded. Because I went to the doctor this one time and it was like they drew like they were gonna draw they were gonna draw like 6 freaking vials of blood. They ended up drawing I think like 5, and then by the time they started drawing like the 5th one, I started like kind of like drifting out and like dozing off in the midst of it because I was like, look, I don't have like any excess freaking like blood flow in here or any like freaking weight or anything that's like gonna constitute like drawing blood. Like I remember back in high school I tried to give like a freaking pint of blood for a blood drive, and we barely even got through like again a third of the freaking bag before we had to like call it quits. So it's like it's always a no-go with drawing blood. But anyway, so they did the surgery and then everything like that, and then I like done like the 3rd or 4th day-ish, and then I woke up after the surgery and I was like, okay, clear mind stud, focus on your health more. And then after that I was like, all right, I'm going to put like weed on pause, like a decent bit. And then I haven't like really like smoked like the cannabis in like years. I had like a freaking mini phase during like a brief period during the pandemic where I was like, okay, it's been a decent bud and enough of the freaking BS. I'm gonna like have like a little like throwback to my rebel phase, and like it was like chill vibes and everything. But then I put it on pause again because I was like, look, I need to really just focus on school, work, and then I'll wait until I'm like freaking 40 to go back and do like my 70s, my modern 70s phase of like wait until I get older, and then I'll just have like one of those random little J's rolled up for like a good time one day and be like, those used to be the days. And I throw on like some freaking classic throwbacks from like the 2000 like 10s to early 2020s and everything like that, and like make it super cute. But back to my story. So the reason I threw that whole timing just in there is because telling you about my 5-minute boyfriend, the relationship kind of ended because of, again, remember how I was stating after I had the surgery, and then like I like quit smoking because I like got home, and then I was like, all right, I probably should be like mixing like anything with like my medicine and everything like that, because I have like pain pills, antibiotics, and what goes, pain pills, antibiotics, and I think probiotics also. And I was like, all right, so maybe if I just smoke a little bit, it should be fine. Oh my gosh, never have any surgical procedures done and think that you can smoke a freaking like blunt after. Oh my gosh. I never realized how much it heightens your goddamn pain until I like did that. And I was like on top of like literally being like a whole bunch of pain, the freaking pain meds were like freaking like handling it for the most part, but I was still in like a lot of pain. Like if anybody ever tells that the pain meds help them with like the pain overall, they're like lying. So don't ever think that if like you get hurt and you start taking pain pills that like if it's not helping enough with the pain, you should take more. That's how people get like addicted to like pain medicine overall, and that's one of the main things that leads to like narcotics abuse and like prescription medication abuse. So don't ever do that. But it does not like overall help like that where you can just take more of it and it'll help you. That'll end up leading to an overdose. So be mindful to steer clear of doing that. And if you ever feel as though you're in a situation where you might need guidance or help with that, there are always call and helplines, and you can always speak to local resources within your area and counselors that can help you with that. And you guys can also check out the BetterHelp app if you guys are working through any past trauma, any past drug abuse, or anything that you might need any assistance or guidance in. Go speak to a licensed therapist that can help you guys for a great rate. That way you guys don't have to all feel like you guys are like, maybe one day I'll get a therapist, but therapists are so expensive. You can always check out some of the online resources. Now that everybody has started to connect via the web throughout the pandemic, you guys can connect with health specialists that can help you guys and give you guys guidance. So please be mindful of that and never let your own mental health take over your entire life. If you ever need help or guidance, reach out to any of the resources that are available, and definitely check out the Better Help platform. You can find a therapist that can help you and talk to you and give you guidance whenever you need it for a great rate. So always remember, take care of your mental health. I'm pretty sure we're still in like mental health awareness. Posting this at like the end of May, and it's definitely still mental health awareness month. So random snippet that actually goes with what I was just freaking trying to explain to you guys. But yeah, BetterHelp is definitely a great platform to check out. I know there's been a lot like going on. People like were kind of iffy, but just because everything makes its way towards like major news headlines doesn't mean that the platforms and things that you guys see are not worth actually checking out, especially with a platform like that offering resources that a lot of people need when recovering through a lot of things throughout their lives. So always be mindful of that. There's always help there for you guys. Okay, so back to my story though. So, and like putting that on pause and then jumping back into like my work life, finishing off the school year. So I was like, I started a new job, and then in the midst of like working, because I started, so I've been teaching for years, you guys. I've been like updating you guys throughout my videos. And I started this new job, and I was like doing like subbing, and then I ended up subbing at a facility that was like close and local to my house. So I was like kind of like in my comfort zone. I was like, okay, like it's local, it's like right down the road. Like I'm not really like out of my comfort zone. Like where am I completely? Like I at least like kind of know where I am. Like remembering the streets and everything, getting to know like the major area of Chicago is still like something that I'm like. I always have like my freaking moments where I'm like, where the freaking heck am I? But I was like, alright, this isn't like that bad. But I was like on my way home from work this one day, and like I always like catch like eyes to like people like all the time, or like we'll like stop and like have like a main like kind of like just thing, or like exchange like some words, and then with some people we like exchange like freaking like, I don't know, like I'm not one to give people like dirty looks or to be like rude. I just say like hi to everybody, but some people have like their like snippy attitudes, and I'm like, look. Alright, I'm not gonna do this with you guys because I know how people get down around here, and it's like, cause I'm from Cali, and it's like growing up in places like this, everybody always like freaking like explains what's going on and like how people react to things, and then it's like you can like catch like most of the stuff in like movies and things on TV, and I'm not even gonna freaking joke with you guys because I'm like always one of those people that like I'm like heading to work and I'm going like home, or I'm like going out, and like in the midst of the flow of it there's like drama, there's like a lot of crazy things that happen. Like I remember like I think like 2 Christmases ago they held like a mall freaking hostage not too far from us, and I was like, what the fuck, these people are like crazy sometimes. And then on top of that, there were like people like pretending to be UPS and FedEx drivers, and they were robbing people's fucking houses and taking their packages and shit like that. Like they get ridiculous. And then up until like recently, within the past like 2 years, we finally got like it to be like a calm zone within like the 5 block radiuses going north, south, east, and west of my freaking house, so that there's been like a ceasefire for the most part. But outside of this like main area, it's like a lot of freaking gun violence and everything like that. Like I know like everybody knows Chicago is one of those major cities that's like on that freaking list of like places that needs a lot of like improvement and reform when it comes to that. And we've been trying to get a lot of new people to join the police force and to help out with that. And I was kind of like thinking of dabbling in that for a bit. But then again, you guys know me, like I'm gonna go for something that's like more like a desk job kind of thing, or like maybe like secretarial work and everything like that. So I've been checking the jobs on that, and I've been like getting like kind of like towards like the flow of like getting something moving with that, which I'm really excited about. Like I'm so freaking excited to work with the city teams to kind of just like do something interesting. But overall, it's gonna be like the end of my Chicago saga soon, which is freaking sad because I came to Chicago back when I was like really young, and then I left Chicago for a bit, and then I came back, and then we've like done the whole entire pandemic thing as like a family, and it's been really great. Like our family members have like popped up from like all over. We've done like freaking like cute little like freaking we've done everything from like more breakfasts, brunches, lunches, a lot of outings, a lot of great experiences. You can catch them all on social media and like find all of our pictures on like Google Maps and stuff like that, and like on Facebook, and you can like follow me on social media to like see everything that we're up to and everything like that. But it's gonna be like the end of my saga soon, and I'm really sad because I'm like, it's been great, but there's been so much going on, and I feel like at this point it's time to do like my own little like personal saga, like say goodbye to everybody. Like I'm probably gonna like distance myself from my family for like a decent bit to like literally just focus on myself, because I wanna start like my own like personal life within the next few years. And like I literally am like already looking into adoption. I'm ready to like freaking like adopt, and I'm setting a plan to do that by the time I'm like, I would say 28ish would be like the latest for me to literally start the preparation work to complete it by that following year. But yeah, it's go mode, and then I'm planning to have my master's completed by then also, and I'm like, it's time. I'm gonna miss them because I'm literally one of those people. I'm already like super antisocial, so I know that when I go out and go do my own thing, I'm not gonna like connect with them or like talk to anybody for like a decent bit. And if I do meet up with them, it'll be like for like family gathering type of things, and like that'll be like random. It's like I literally do like always like prioritize like personal time. It's like essential for me. Schoolwork and work overall. So I'm like, it's gonna be something. And then like when the kids picture, it's gonna be like school, because I'm gonna go for my PhD after. So it's gonna be like school, work, the kid, personal time, and occasionally family time. Maybe for like vacations and stuff, we can like still plan out really cute things to do and everything like that. But anyway, so I was working at that assignment that was like down the freaking roadish, and on my way home from work, there was a guy who like was like trying to talk to me when I was like heading home, and I was like waiting at the bus stop, and I was like, okay, like the bus is running late today, but I'm not gonna complain because you just have to have faith, because it'll pop up, and then it will be like at the perfect time. Well, to my freaking shock, right, this guy walks up to me, and he's like buying like cigarettes from somebody out of the fucking window by the bus stop, and I was like, what the fucking heck is going on around here? And I was like, maybe that's like, and it's not even like, it's one of those things where I'd say maybe that's just like their friends, so they were just buying cigarettes from, like, it was like somebody who like I'd seen like selling cigarettes out of their windows like to multiple different people. So that was their thing. So I kind of like was like, all right, at this point I've been like working at this freaking place and doing this assignment for a decent bit, so I'm not really like shocked about that part, because I was like shocked the first time I saw that, because I was like, are they selling cigarettes out of the window? You know what, that seems like something that could actually freaking happen. That's like not that major. But then I was like, the guy like turned around, and I was like, because I caught him out of like the side of my eye, because whenever somebody like pops up and like they're like walking and like I get like off vibes, I always like kind of have to like do like a bit of like a head turn and like kind of like check and make sure like I'm not in any danger. And then like I'll kind of go back to my thing, and like he like turned around after he like went over to the window, and like when he was like walking towards it, he was like staring at me, and like that's one of those things where I always know when somebody's looking at me too. So I got those like vibes when he was walking up, and he was like freaking like half a block away, and I was like, why do I feel like this would be staring at me? That's like a distance away from me. And then he got closer, and then like he went over there, and I was like, oh gosh, just don't say something to me. And then like he walked over there, he walked the freaking like cigarettes out of the window, and then he walked over to me after, and he was like, you're cute, like give me your number, like, you know, he was like saying something, he was like trying to, yeah, I'm gonna like, I've been like throwing a couple of like urban phrases and like my freaking flow for like the past 2 weeks, because I was like, I've been in Chicago for like 5 freaking years now again, and I haven't really done like any like urban flows. I've been sticking to like the way that I consistently speak, but like I started talking to him again, I had to like get a little urban with like the way that I talk to him, because like if I talk to you the way I talk to everybody else, oh my freaking gosh, like I feel like he's not gonna like think that I'm actually mad when I'm talking to him. Like sometimes when we have like arguments, I talk to him the way that I normally would talk, and like he gets what I'm saying, and like he'll calm down. But then sometimes I have to literally like I have to be like, okay, I don't know who the fuck you think you're talking to. And like, I have to do like the whole entire like kind of accent, but not like the full on accent. So it's like, just so you know, all right, I may be from California, but I've done the New York's flow and I've done the Chicago flow for long enough to tell you that I know how to talk to you so that you can understand what the fuck I am trying to tell you. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is not the freaking moment. I'm just trying to go to work, go back home. I have a homework to freaking do. I have discussion questions to freaking go and freaking do. And then, like, I was like, there's a lot freaking going on at home. Like, the freaking baby was just born and everything like that. Oh, yeah, by the way, you guys, my little baby cousin Ryan was born last summer, and he's so freaking cute. And then I live with my aunt now, which is freaking, like, adorbs, because I've been waiting for her to freaking, like, move home since the beginning of the pandemic when I really was, like, worried about everything going on. And then there was a lot of freaking crime during that George Floyd thing. Like, I know, like, all you guys saw everything else, like, going all over the media, but, like, over here, like, personally, they started, like, with it being a major city again, and, like, having, like, a population of over 5 million people, stores were just vandalized, like, all up and down the freaking major strip, like, right, because we live on, like, a freaking, like, major freaking road. It's, like, one of those, like, historic roads, and it's, like, a major, like, travel spot, so it's, like, they freaking, so, like, right at the end of my street, there's, like, a Family Dollar right there, so they, like, destroyed the Family Dollar, raided that store, raided the store that was like down the street like a tad bit, raided the freaking Walgreens. I live like right up the street from the Walgreens also, but they raided the Walgreens also. Well, I think they attempted to, but like Walgreens kind of like knew the deal, so they boarded up a lot of their windows because everybody knew once they did the George Floyd announcement to board up your freaking windows to stay safe and to save your merchandise and everything like that. And then they had like security there. They've upped security in the recent years because of stuff like that. And yeah, they freaking like did a lot. They burned a bunch of buildings down, looted a bunch of freaking places downtown, and then in the midst of it, they were like doing like we're just doing peaceful protests, and I'm like, you guys are doing peaceful protests while they're in the middle of freaking looting and vandalizing, destroying the whole entire city. There were sirens going for like the next like 3 fucking days after that whole entire thing. It was so fucking like cray. And overall, I'm so sorry, you guys, to like. For anybody who takes offense, I think it was really stupid to like literally destroy like our like freaking home areas. They did this to a lot of major cities throughout the country, and it was a lot to recover from. Like personally, for the Family Dollar, like I kept telling people in my family, I'm like, they're gonna end up they're gonna rebuild it. Like we're gonna rebuild everything that like was destroyed throughout the pandemic and throughout the George Floyd riots. Like for a bunch of buildings that like were closed down, they're gonna end up opening up being new businesses, hopefully. But for the businesses that were destroyed during the George Floyd riots, if they were one of the major chain branches, it's going to be rebuilt soon. But I was like, just the fact that that happened, the fact that they literally broke the windows, stole, like, they cleared out most of the freaking store. Like, everybody just went, like, crazy. They set a freaking store down the street on fire. That was the other store that I was telling you guys about, that they robbed that store, looted it, and then they set it on fire after, and then it was just, like, really crazy. It was just, like, ridiculous. And I was like, just for this stuff to, like, literally be going on super local. And I was like, I'm gonna leave my freaking house, because I already know you guys are, like, freaking, like, being, like, ridiculous freaking savages, and it's gonna be, like, bad by the end of it. So there were like a lot of freaking arrests going on, and then a lot of people were like, I just can't even believe that it was like getting that crazy. And then there were like people were getting maced, and it was getting so crazy. And no, this is the part that I have something for. The business owners that were like, it was a lot. Like we were boarding up our windows, and I was like, this was like some freaking like shenanigans type of stuff. Like hopefully everybody was able to freaking recover well from it. I know a lot of businesses weren't able to reopen after that, and there were like a lot of mom and pop businesses were freaking destroyed that had been in like people's neighborhoods for years, and the same people that they've been serving and helping for years looted their freaking stores and destroyed their freaking places of business, and they never recovered financially. A lot of people didn't like, I guess, have, well, overall, as expected, a lot of people didn't have like business insurance, so that was another factor. So it's just like, and then for people who did have business insurance and were just like, I'll just take the payout after, they were like, we're not trying that again. Like, that was like, that's an ultimate level of betrayal. So it was freaking crazy. And my uncle went out in like the midst of it and started like recording stuff. I was like, you were freaking crazy. I would never go out in like the midst of that. we have like a freaking balcony area. I went over the balcony and I was like, what the heck is going on? Because I heard like the sirens and the fire trucks, and I called my mom and I was like, this is getting freaking ridiculous. Okay, so they're destroying the entire freaking area over that entire freaking thing. Oddly enough, you guys, I did like another vlog, like the exact same thing, like a similar situation happened to me like a year prior. So when that entire thing happened, I didn't follow the story and I didn't actually like see what happened until like a year after the George Floyd riots happened to places. So I was like, damn. I just did like a vlog a year ago talking about like the exact same situation, and then it happened, and then sadly George Floyd like died while in like the exact same situation, and I was like, that was like an extremely sad moment. Like I was like, I am so shocked that not only did it turn into a situation where someone died, but it also led to like future deaths of a lot of people due to the freaking riots and everything that took place. Businesses were destroyed, and the time frame for it was literally like the worst, because right after that we got hit with the pandemic flow and unemployment hit that freaking major level. The mask mandate went into effect. A lot of people were staying home. A lot of people like were like not working after that. So it's just like a lot for the country to like recover from financially after that. And then not to mention with the trade deficit, we were already a country in debt. So with everything going from productivity and the money paid for said productivity, it went towards people that were staying home and now not working, which took another toll on the economy overall. But overall, that is like money that stays within the country, so don't really like think too deeply on that one. But I was just like, it was a crazy year, 2020 itself, and then 2021 was like a great year for me. I don't know about everybody else. I followed like the news for the most part during that year, and it was like a pretty great like recovery year. Joe finally got into office, so it was like you guys can like finally like start actually getting back to political things being set towards the agenda instead of focusing on like the goddamn border wall every year. Like I was like, I don't know how many times I checked in on the news to see what was going on while Donald Trump was in office, just for it to always be like riots, crazy freaking controversies going on with ICE. I went home to California for like a bit in like 2019, and there was like an entire freaking like riot protest going on for like the entire 2 months that I went home. And they were protesting it. There were riots about the ICE freaking breakdowns going on in the area, about Donald Trump and his like regime and everything like that. And I was like, it's a lot. And I was like, with Joe, at least like if I hear any complaints, I know that right after they literally end up freaking like passing something new that's set to again enable the people to move forward and to freaking help people financially. And I'm like, at the end of the day, that's what a lot of people in this country needed, to feel as though that they were in a country that actually wanted them to propel themselves forward, rather than feeling as though that stigmatism set that we all used to do when we're growing up, that the country wanted to hold us back, and that everybody in society never was set to succeed. It's that prevailing force to remind people that overall you can do whatever you set your mind to, and that there will always be assistance, both financially and mental assistance, to make sure that everybody is able to continue to progress forward in life. But yeah, it was great. But I'm telling you guys, I'm like going on like a spiel, and I can always do like other vlogs to like touch base on all the other topics. So I'll save that for another one, but I'm gonna continue to tell you guys about my 5-minute boyfriend. And let's see, we're at the 33-minute mark. I might be able to finish this up by like 40 minutes-ish, hopefully. So that was the entire spiel with him, like asking me out. So I ended up giving him my number, even though, because I was like really iffy, and I was like, if I give my number, I'm probably not even gonna text him. I'll probably just block him after. But then I was like, I just met you like right near the place that I'm gonna be working at, so odds are you're gonna pop up again and like try to like buy some cigarettes with somebody, and then you're gonna try to talk to me again. You're gonna be like, so why'd you block me? And I'm like, knowing my luck, he'll be one of those people who's like a drunk, so he'll pop up like drunk, like trying to talk to me, and like he'll like freaking be like cigarette freaking like out of his mouth, and like trying to talk to me like, hey, what you doing? Why did you text me back or something like that? And then I'd be like, oh my freaking gosh, like gonna have to cancel this job assignment and switch over to a new one and let my team member know. So I was like, maybe I'll just like see if he's like a chill individual. And then I was at that time where I was like, my birthday just passed, and I was like still like that mindset. Yes, last year is when I started like really looking into like adoption plans and like moving forward. The year before that, I was like checking in on the specific requirements within the state that I live in, and then last year was like I was planning to move forward with it, but then my aunt and the baby ended up moving in, so I was like, I'll put that on pause for like a bit. But and I was like, if I do end up like meeting a new guy or like talking to them, I'm gonna like pursue a relationship with them. I'm gonna like jump out of like that whole entire phase during my teen life where I was like, sometimes it'd be like I'm going for like relationship, and then sometimes it'd be like just like maybe I'm looking for like maybe I'll go with like a casual flow for a bit. But I was like, no, I need some consistency. I need like somebody who has the mindset to match mine. Like it's like work, school, family, personal time is like my main schedule. And I was like, if we're gonna be serious, I can turn personal time into personal time occasionally, us time occasionally, and maybe sometimes we'll meet up in the midst of it, and then us time will feel like personal time. But overall, it was like it started off like calm. Like it was like he like came over, like we ended up texting for like a bit, and then we ended up planning like a day to freaking meet up and everything like that. And then he like came over, and I was like in the middle of watching the show on Netflix with this guy named like Lino, and he was like, "My name's Tino," and I was like, "Oh, that's freaking super adorable." And like he like kept like he like popped up, and then he was like, "So do you like want to get intimate?" And I was like, "No, like I just met you." And then it's like we just freaking plan to meet up, and then after I literally already tried to explain to you that I don't want to jump into like being intimate with somebody that I like. Number one, that I'm not dating. Number two, that I barely even know. And number three, I just feel like that's never gonna be my thing. To like literally just like completely just be like, yeah, you know, hell yeah, let's freaking jump into it. Because I'm like, I've had those freaking like moments in the past where I was like one night stand type of flow where like I'm just not even in like the freaking mood, and it's just like substituting not being in the mood for being like I'm just gonna like have like some freaking like great freaking like sex, and it's like sometimes it's like not even that freaking great, and it's just like rebel moments and everything like that. I'm like, okay, I'm like 23 now, I can't have like rebel moments anymore where I'm like partying and then I'm like freaking like drunk vibes, and then I'm like I'm just gonna freaking like hook up with somebody. I'm like 23 now. It's like if I wanna like do something, like I want it to be like somebody I'm gonna be in a relationship with, and not just like a bunch of like freaking just random hookups, because I feel like just like having like some great sex and everything like that. Just like being completely honest. But yeah. So we had like our cute little like chill moments like that. And like he like came over, he brought like some like beers to my grams and everything like that. And then like he was like chill, so like he chilled, and we were like kind of vibing, kind of like getting to know each other. But with like me dating anybody, I don't want to know about anybody's past, because I've learned that when I allow people to open up and tell me about their past, they always tell me more than I wanted to know, and they always pick the worst aspects of their past to tell me about. And then I'm like, look, if I'm like trying to get to know you, I want to know things like, what are your favorite colors, what are your favorite hobbies, you know, where do you want to like go on like vacation, that's like your dream place to go. Because like for me, it's like Spain. My favorite color is like freaking aqua. My favorite hobbies are to like draw, dance, and sing. And then I'm like, aside from that, like what are my aspirations in life? I want to freaking finish going to college. I want to freaking like, well, I wanted to be a teacher. Now I've been like teaching for like 2 years, and then I'm like, I want to freaking dabble in criminal justice. And like, I just completed my freaking associates in that, and then I'm like, I want to freaking dabble in politics. So that's what I'm going for my bachelor's degree. And it's like, I can tell you about all that, and it's like things that I'm like working on, things that I have to study for all the freaking times. And it's just like, I want somebody else that type of ambition. And like when I talk to them, I ask them about like, cause like when I ask you about personal aspects of your life, I want to hear about the good things. And if I ask you about your past, I want to hear about the things that propelled you forward. I don't want to know about the things that are your hindering points that you might fall back towards one day. And that ended up being one of the reasons why we ended up like having to take a break, because after like we hung out for like a decent bit, like we hung out for like I think like 2 weeks, and it was like every freaking other day we were like hanging out like after I got out from work, and he'd like come over and like he'd like spend the night and stuff like that, and it was like cute for like a decent bit, but I was like, look, overall, as I told you in the beginning, I'm looking for a relationship, so we're gonna have to like figure out what we're doing. Like, are we just like gonna be friends after this? Or are we gonna like freaking date, because I already told you where I'm at? And he's like, well, I can like match your vibe. And I'm like, I want to do like the exact same thing. I'm looking to like, be, because I told him, I was like, I want to get married. I see myself getting married in the future. And he was like, well, I see myself as being somebody's like husband in the future. And I was like, okay, that's freaking cute. And I was like, I would freaking love like to like spend my future with somebody who has that same mindset as me, where they're like looking for something like that in the future, and they're looking to freaking like raise kids. So I'm like, I told him, I was like, and then I want to have kids for the next few years. And he's like, I have like my own kid. And I was like, oh, that's freaking cute. So, I mean, maybe we can like raise a kid together and all this other stuff. And we did have like a lot of deep chats. So, like, he was like, oh yeah, like my mindset's there too. But then like later in the relationship, like when we actually had like that talk, like 2 weeks in about making it like something that was like finalized, it was like, give me your phone. If we're gonna say this, we're not just gonna say this. I'm gonna make sure that you have a reminder later. So I was like, we're doing like the full on spiel, like we're like going like public. I was like, I know it seems like it might be like some like high school type of thing to like be like, we need to post it on Facebook, but I'm like, no, being adults, we're gonna go public without it, because I'm like, everything in my life is always public. If I fucking like I like buy crap, if I go anywhere, it's like freaking public. If I'm like talking to like anybody, and it's like getting to that relationship point, it's always like public. Like my family's like involved in the main gist of it. It's all over like my social media accounts, because I'm like, I want you to be like a part of my daily life. My daily life includes me picking up my goddamn phone and like snapping a picture 9 times out of 10, or like freaking being in front of a goddamn camera all the time. And I'm like, look, if we're gonna be like do something like that, like I need you to know that like that's gonna be like what it's gonna be like consistently. So he was like, yeah, like let's do it. So I like posted it on my Facebook, and then it like went over to his Facebook, and I was like, give me your phone, I'm gonna approve it. And he's like, wait, what are you approving? I'm like, we're going public. We're being like serious. Me and you, if you're gonna be matching my vibe, and if you're on the same level that I'm on, before I hit this confirmation button, I'm gonna need you to confirm that you're ready to go public. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, all right, boom. And so like it went public after that, and then I was like, okay, maybe, and like I kind of like could have been less like business savvy version of myself. Like I don't have time to like play games. Like I literally have too much stuff to focus on to literally just feel like we just had the conversation, and then like we're gonna have like a relationship and I'm like, I don't do the whole relationship thing with like people like where it's not gonna be public. Especially like living in Chicago, I met like a decent bit of people where it's like, especially with like the on the download thing, it gets really fucking annoying. Like dealing with people, like I ended up like I did the Grinder app thing for a decent bit, and I was like, look, I went on the app like a lot when I was like younger, and it was like during like my like teenage hookup phase, and then like my like early young adult like hookup phase and everything like that. And like when I met like one of my ex boyfriends on there, and I was like, when you meet people that are on the download on the app, it's like, it's just, they're so weird. They're super sketchy all the time. Like 9 times out of 10, like it's like those are like the people that I throw into like the main gist of like, if I have like, they're like my main like, I've had like one night stands with like people on the DL before. Those like my main peeps that are like on there. Aside from that, like people that like I ended up like hooking up with, ended up being like really like consistent type of flows and everything like that. And like, let's just say the sex was pretty freaking great. But that's besides the point. But however, yeah, they were just like the worst. It's like the secrets, just like how weird they are. They're super freaking sketchy. They're like, Sometimes they give me like really like creepy freaking vibes, and it's not even like they like give you creepy vibes because it's like, oh my gosh, it's like they give you creepy vibes because they want to be creepy, and I'm like, I don't have time for that shit. Nobody's scared of that crap, which is like another thing in itself. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, when I started dating him, I was like, please just don't like remind me of that type of stuff, because then he was like, I don't know, like I'm not like that like open about like being like on this float and everything. I was like, no one's gonna fucking care. Like I was like, if anybody sees that you're like dating me, they're gonna be like congrats to you. And like he got like a lot of props like after we broke up and everything like that, because like we went public again like that. So like after we broke up, because we started dating, and then like he popped up, and like we were doing our thing for like a decent bit, and then I let him borrow my phone for like a bit, and then like he went like MIA with my phone. So I was like, oh my freaking gosh, this is why I was leery, because I was like, you've been like decently well the entire time, and then he started getting like sketchy things like towards the end of our relationship, and we only dated for like a week, no, for like 2.5 weeks. And was like, all right, it's been like, it was good. It was like cute. We had like our honeymoon phase and everything like that. And then like we were already talking for 2 weeks prior to that. So this was like week like 5.5. And I was like, look, I keep telling people like I'm getting older. And when I tell you that like I'm serious about you, like I'll be serious. So I'm like over there telling my coworkers, I'm like, look, if we can last until Christmas, because we started talking like the week after my birthday, and then like we were like dating by like maybe the first week in November, and then we broke up like the week before Thanksgiving. He was supposed to come over and spend Thanksgiving with me, like me and my family. Like he'd already been over and like met my family and like multiple times, and like we used to like hang out and like freaking like chill. And then he'd be like, hey, saying hi to like my aunt, the baby, and like my gramps and everything like that. And it was just like he started getting into sketchy stuff. He like started dabbling and like dealing drugs and stuff like that. And I was like, it was like during like week 2 of us dating. So I was like, look, I'm just like gonna tell you, I'm not with that. And then he was like, do you smoke? Like, and I was like, do I smoke what? And then he was like, do you smoke like weed? And I was like, no, that was something I told you in like the beginning of this whole entire spiel. And I was like, look, like I get it, like that's like a major like okay, growing up in Cali, like I get it, like people smoke weed, but like being in Chicago, I've noticed that like when certain people, when you try to tell them that you don't smoke weed, they like try to make it extremely freaking awkward and uncomfortable. And it's like, if I'm telling you I don't smoke weed, don't try to like pop up to me and like try to get me to like smoke some weed, or try to sell me weed after I told you I don't smoke weed. And it's like, it gets so freaking weird. But he tried to do that like a few times while we were dating, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna end up ending soon. And I was so freaking happy. I was like, look, this is gonna be cute. Like, this is a grown freaking man, and he's like, he knows like the freaking vibe, like wanting to freaking like be serious about what you want in the future. And I was like, to be having really in-depth like chats with you at night that like get to that level where I'm like, all right, we kind of are matching on like the vibe mindset. During like week 2 of us dating, he took like that complete like 360 spin and spiraled out of control. It was so fucking bad. Oh my gosh. Like he like, okay, so I let him borrow my phone. Remember I told you guys like he went missing with my phone for like a week, and then like when he came back to like bring me my phone back, I was like, all right, so we're breaking up. And he was like trying to avoid me because I told him like in the midst of it, I was like, no, you need to come over, like we need to talk, and I want my phone back. And he was like, all right, like I'll be there, like all right, like you don't even gotta like make it seem like get some help. And I was like, all right, so bring my phone back and I'll talk to you in person. He was like, no, but what do you want to talk to me? And I was like, bring my phone back and we'll talk in person, because at this point I already like did the whole like casual, babe, are you coming over today? Blew me off. Babe, like, are you coming over today? We planned this came out the day before. And then he like used to talk like he was like this OD narcissist. Like he was like so fucking narcissistic. Like it's like I'm like, if you ever check out my goddamn Instagram name, it is like the God Narcissist. Alright, he was the one who like freaking was like ready to freaking die staring at his own freaking reflection. Like, so I'm like, for me to pick that, that's my Instagram name. You know damn well then I know a goddamn narcissist when I'm talking to one or when I meet one. So it's like hanging out with him. It's like always great vibes. Like normally when I'm hanging out with people, it's like it's not really like that hard for them to like focus on me or like whatever the heck it's like going on with like my flow. It's like they pick like apart my outfit, like my hair, or like just like they're just focusing on me. And it's like when it's somebody that I'm intimate with, like you're gonna like focus on my body actually, like overall, and then like my face, the whole flow, like my voice, what I'm talking to you about. Sometimes it's like that sexy flow and everything like that. But I mean, that's the intimacy flow level. It's my boyfriend type of shit. But that's besides the point. So I was like, yeah, no, bring like my phone back. So I was like getting like really like freaking like annoyed for like a decent bit because it was like just wasting my goddamn time. And then he went like off on like an adventure with like one of my old phones. And like typically I wouldn't care, but I keep all of my phones like backup storage drives for a lot of information such as phone numbers, passcodes, account information, access to all of my accounts and everything like that. Like I always keep them active. They're always like updated. I always check on them every once in a while. I keep like app backups on there and transfer them over from one phone to the another and everything like that. And like it's just like I've been like on my freaking like I always keep like Androids and like an iPhone just in case to like do like my entire spiel, like all my freaking major stuff. But yeah, so that's like my major like thing where I was just like, all right, bring it like back, like don't try to like run off my phone. And then I'm like, honestly, Dana, I'm like, I don't know, I don't like the whole like I'm a gangster vibe, and then sometimes he tried to like have like that gangster vibe, and like during this like one chat, he was like, babe, I'm just gonna warn you, like I got another side of me. And then like when he said that, he gave me like evil vibes when he said it, and I was like, this is what I mean by I don't want to know everything about you that like it's gonna turn me off. Like don't tell me something that's gonna make me be like get the fuck out of my face. And like he did that, and I was like, this is the type of shit that like makes people just want to slap the shit out of people. But it's just like I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt because I'm like I don't want to like say you're like an ain't shit individual, but like so far it was like daddy vibes. But he was like working on it overall, which I was like, all right, as long as you like stay in contact. I wouldn't say working on it, but like he like did like call his kid while we were dating. I don't know, but outside of that and like his personal life, I know like since we started dating, he started like getting his life back together and like connecting with his family members and everything like that. And I think he does like less sketchy shit now, and like he started going back to work. We started talking recently. I ended up hiring him for a job like in like I think like Marchish or Aprilish to help me move like a bunch of stuff from my aunt's apartment and everything like that. But it's just like aside from that, it's like we ended up like dating after I got the phone back. I told him I was like, look, I'm not gonna date somebody who's like number one. He was like he like popped up and he was like, I'm just saying like gee, I don't even know how we even like started dating, like how we even got to that point. And I was like, look, I'm gonna put it on pause right there. Number one, I know I did not literally have to freaking like call you and demand that you pop back up and bring my goddamn phone for you to return with my phone to realize that I'm not playing games with you. Just for you to pop up and like give me like a fucking bullshit argument breakdown about how we shouldn't be breaking up right now. I'm not gonna date somebody that I have to worry about for a week. I'm not gonna date somebody that every time they get a new stupid fucking crazy idea, they go with it. I'm like, I don't know how the fuck you went from working a fucking 9 to 5 job to becoming a drug dealer and prioritizing dealing drugs over number one, your relationship, number two, your child, and number three, your 9 to 5. And I'm like, put those in any order as you that you could possibly want. Just like, sorry, playing with nails. But put those three in any order that you could ever possibly want to put, like, whatever the hell. Like, if you're, like, one of those crazy people that people date and you're like, I am number one, you can put yourself as number one. If you're, like, somebody who's, like, a realist, child is number one. If you're somebody who's, like, what, like me, career is number two. And then number three, the person that you're dating, which, like, sadly for me, that would be something sad, but that's how I would prioritize things. I was like, yo, that's fucking insane. 3 strikes you're out. And then number 4, I'm not gonna fucking like. This one's like from my spiel. I'm not gonna freaking have to track you down. If you're going off the deep end and you don't want me to be there for you, and if you don't want my help, go off the fucking deep end and call me when you're ready to freaking recover. Because that's the thing that a lot of people mess up and like they they let themselves go through these self-destructive phases where they're like worrying about people, and then it's like the people are gonna let you worry about them, and they want you to worry about them so they can feed off that negativity. And it's like I always tell people, if I tell them anything about me, I don't want you to be sad about it. I don't want you to literally even have to reflect about it. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna freaking recover. Like literally, if I need your assistance with anything or if I need your help, I am going to speak up. But I don't need you to feel like overly emotional. I don't need it to take a toll on your mental health because I know how that affects people. I've been dealing with this for years. I've been dealing with unstable teenagers and just everybody going through like a bunch of like I did have like a whole like counseling phase throughout my entire life, like with a bunch of people. But that's like besides the point. I was just like, look, I'm just cutting ties with you. Like, I don't even want to freaking do this with you anymore. So then, like, we had like that freaking like breakup point, and then like he kept trying to like get back in like contact like throughout going over the months, and like I used to just like call or text to check up on him and see if he like kind of wanted like come over, hang out, and then it like got to the point where I was talking to my grandma, and we were like, no more boys can come over, and I was like, oh well, see. There was never a rule about this until I had that last boyfriend, but that's another thing where I'm just like, oh my gosh. I started feeling like I was a teenager again after I broke up with him, and I was like, look, it's like go mode. And I was like, when I started like getting to that point where I was like, I feel like a teenager again, I can tell you the truth between work and school and just like everything in my daily life. I didn't even have really like time to like sit back and dwell on it or to be sad about it. I was literally just like, I don't even care. I got the hookup phase like out of like my freaking vibes a while ago. So when I actually like we started like setting down like ground rules for like having boys over and that got set for like everybody in the house and everything like that, I was like, I'm completely cool with that. And then I was like, I was just really like shocked about that whole entire thing with him. But anyway, so then I ended up hiring him for a job, and then like we stayed in contact for like a decent bit, and then we just reconnected recently, like right before Memorial Day. He like got a new phone, and like because I blocked his old number, like every time like we like chat, like let's say like when I hired him for the job a few months ago. He like called me after because I sent him the money, and like he's like one of those people that's like cash app it to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna just send it to you on Chime, and you can like enter your debit card information and then transfer it from the Chime Instant Pay over to your Cash App. And then he couldn't do that, and like, do you have like a major bank card that you can use? And he was like, I don't have that, and I was like, oh my freaking gosh. Did you lose some money already? And then he was like, I don't know. And then he was like freaking out, and he got like attitude. He was like, gee, I don't know why you sent me the money like that. Like, I don't even know what to even do with it. And I was like, oh my fucking god, she's so fucking ratchet sometimes. And then he gets like this attitude, and I'm like, I don't know. Number one, I don't know who the fuck you're yelling at, alright? And then number two, I don't know why the fuck anybody would ever think that yelling or freaking out about any situation ever helps anything get done. So then me being the calm one, I always have to tell him to calm down. Number one, don't raise my blood pressure. Don't raise my heart rate, alright? My heart rate stays consistent all the time because nothing ever fucking throws me off my vibe. So I'm like, for you to even make it feel like it might flutter, it's gonna piss me off. So I was like, number one, did you just fuck up and lose all my money? Alright? I kept that money in my account to fucking pay you that. The rest of this fucking shit is going towards like bills, all my essentials. I have shit to fucking do, shit to fucking cover. But if you just lost my fucking money because you don't know what to fucking do with it, I'm gonna be pissed. And he was like, no, I didn't lose your money. Like, I don't, well, you fucked it up because you didn't send me the money through Cash App. And I was like, okay, number one, stop with the fucking like attitude and say things in like plain English to me before I literally fucking lose my cool because you're popping off and you're saying like all this fucking like BS, and I'm like, look, number one, I only know like half the fucking words that you're saying. Number two, that attitude is pissing me the fuck off. And then number three, which is the one that I already stated, did you just lose my fucking money? So he was like, oh no, like, oh, like, gee, I don't know why you did that. Like, that was so fucking dumb. And I was like, look, did you cash the money out? Did you move the money? And he was like, no, I didn't. No, actually, I didn't do that yet. And I was like, okay, if you didn't cash out the money, you didn't move it yet. That means that I can still correct the situation. I can still cancel the transfer on my end and then have the money sent back to my account and forwarded to you via Cash App. And then I would say that'll be the same way we'll handle it next time. But I was like, with that shitty fucking attitude, I will never hire you for a job again, because rather than telling me that there was a fucking error and that you need my assistance, you called me and popped off on me. And I'm like, for all of that, I could be fucking rude and say fuck you and keep the goddamn money, but instead I try to stay true to my word. And plus, I don't want to deal with the fucking drama because he's like ratchet as fuck. So I'm like, next thing you fucking know, he'll like pop up and like, I don't know, he's like a one freaking like man army kind of thing. So I'm not really worried about him like popping up and being like crazy or like starting any drama or anything like that. Like, I'll slap the shit out of him and like literally like put him in his place, and then it's like, I don't even know. Like, when we're like face to face, he's never like that much of like a gangster. It's like when he's over the phone, he thinks he's like a fucking gangster, like boss ass nigga. And then when he's like in person, it's like, babe, like, you know, like, I don't know, just sometimes you get me in my feels. And I'm like, oh my gosh, well, you know, sometimes you need to remember that you actually fucking have feelings. Like, that you actually want to be loved. And I'm like, when you're not in my presence, it's like he forgets that he actually wants to be loved, and he gets on this like self-destructive fucking vibe type of thing. And I'm like, if you want to go fucking like every time, because it's like he'd come over and then it'd be like super chill, and then he'd like be ready to leave after, and then he'd be ready to go do some like crazy shit. And like, I was like, I don't have time for it. Like, after like a month after we fucking broke up, he like started like, okay, so in the midst of us like starting to date, he caused some drama with his fucking roommate, and then ended up getting kicked out of that freaking place. So then he was like wandering around, like going from house to house for like a decent. He stayed with me for like a night, and then like after that, because I was like, oh my gosh, like babe, like I can't believe it happened. Like, oh my gosh, like Tim, this is like when we first started dating, and it was like all the super cute face. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what the fucking heck? You know, you can't pop up on your fucking roommate. You know, you can't have drama. You know, you can't start a whole bunch of bullshit. Go make amends with them tomorrow. And like, you know, adult type of fucking things. I don't know whatever happened with that. I think he ended up like trying to apologize to him after he got like to my house and like everything like that. And I was like, you know, like maybe, you know, control your anger from now on, especially with the fact that you just like had like anger management over the past few years. Like, you need to control that, because the last thing I need is for me to be sitting here worrying about you one day and being like, I'm gonna be rooting for you no matter what, and then the next thing I fucking find out, you just popped off on somebody, committed a murder, and now you're in fucking prison because you couldn't control your anger. And I'm like, I need you to work on that. Not just for me, not just for your fucking kid, not just for everybody around you, for yourself also, because it's gonna get you caught up in some crazy ass bullshit, and we're all just gonna be like, well, that's the story of what happened to Roy Maines. Have a fucking chance. So we ended up staying with his brother for a decent bit, and then after we ended up breaking up, he ends up staying with his fucking brother, and then it's like brother and him end up getting into like this freaking like debacle. Like, I think in like January, she ended up in jail because I was like calling check up on him, and I was like, where the fuck did you go? Like, you went MIA for a bit, and like I always call and check up on him like once a month, because it's like, it's always in his bag, like sometimes, and I'm like, I told you guys, I always block him after I end up checking up on him to make sure he's okay, because like after that, it's just like, I don't want to deal with you after, because he has a steak ass attitude all the time, and I'm like, I'm not throwing sex on the table every time, so I can like be able to like handle that old like relationship flow, and like to be able to just show, like, we haven't had like that was like, oh, that hasn't even been like a factor, but like overall, like just thinking back on it, it's like, we had like great vibes overall. But aside from that, it's just like, I don't know. Like, when I look back on a relationship, I'm like, you know, sometimes when we're together, it's like that great flow, it's like great energy. But when we were separate, it's just like, he just caused like a lot of drama. He was just like always in the midst of some like bad like idea and scheme. And then like when he came over, like on the day that we were breaking up, he like popped up and he had like a bag of weed in his bag, and he was like, no, G, like I just want to show you, like, and I just want to show you what's been going on. Like, see, I'm telling you, I'm not even like doing anything like that. Like, I'm not like stoned anything like crazy like that. And then he like tried to grab his like bag, and then I was like, okay, number one, give me back my phone. And then he like grabbed the freaking bag, and then he was like trying to show me what was in the bag, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna take my phone back, and then no, don't worry, no, just leave that in the bag, okay? Just no, it's fine, okay? This has been going on for long enough. I don't need to see what's in the bag. I believe you. I believe you that it's just weed. I don't want to see it. I told you, I don't fuck with the weed. I don't fuck with the ganja. I don't fuck with the marijuana, whatever the hell you want to call it. All right, keep that in the fucking bag. Don't bring that shit out. Don't bring that shit to my fucking like family's house. All right, shit makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me nauseous just thinking about it. The smell of it makes me want to fucking puke. So I'm like, just like, please don't even do that. And then like going on riding the fucking trains around here or riding like the bus always fucking smells like weed, and I always feel like I'm gonna fucking puke. And then I always think back to the phase, back to when I used to like smoke, and I'm like, I feel like that's when I am the one who's actually smoking. I feel like that's the only fucking time I don't want to puke, which is so fucking weird. But like I smell like all the time, and I always feel like that like oh my gosh, that like sick queasy flow. I just want to puke after. And then I was like, for you to bring that to my family's fucking home, knowing that is something that I'm not okay with, that's gonna make me feel fucking uncomfortable. I was just like, I just don't even understand why that seemed like that was like a great idea. And then I was just like, you just gotta take that stuff. You gotta go. Give me back my fucking phone. And then like when I like went to the bathroom, I was like, I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be right back. But like, yeah, we're over. And then like he was like trying to put my phone back in his pocket, and he was like, "Nah, G, like we still a thing. Like it's not like we're breaking up." And I was like, no, we are." Like, and I had to like, I literally was like, if I'm being a realist, I really felt comfortable about like jumping in relationships where you think that you're gonna control me or control like any aspect of my life, because that's not what a relationship is. A relationship is supporting each other no matter what, not trying to control each other. So put my fucking phone back. You already made me feel uncomfortable going missing with my phone for over a fucking week while pretending to be like, I'm gonna come see you. The only time you actually came to see me was to bring me back my phone after you finally started to answer the phone and realized that you were pissing me the fuck off. And that I'm not gonna tell you what the fuck I'm gonna tell you, because it's gonna be something I'm gonna tell you in person. And when I told him everything in person, he was like, well, I'm just like, I'm gonna keep trying to negate it, and I'm gonna keep trying to like have an argument against like that whole entire like mindset and try to like find like that breakdown that's gonna like benefit me. And I'm like, no, give me my fucking phone. My phone's going back where it should be. Deleting all the stuff that you like put on here. He's like, log me out of everything, like, you know. And then like when he was like getting ready to leave, he was like trying to take the phone back, and I was like, if you thought that we were gonna be okay, or that like it was gonna be like that chill vibe, you wouldn't have jumped to the level of like deleting my freaking account and everything just so you can like talk to me and like think that we're gonna be okay after, and then like think that I'm gonna give you the phone again so you can like be like, all right, I'm gonna log back in, and then if I pop back up, you know, we'll have this endless cycle of you being like, oh no, give me back my stuff. And then he's supposed to be like, no, like we always do that. No, I'm not one of those type of people who's like, we're gonna always do this. Like, give me back my shit and just fucking go. Like, if you want to go do like a whole bunch of fucking bullshit, go do it. I'm not gonna sit here and be like that person who's like cheering you on if you're gonna be self-destructive. So as I said, he moved in with his brother a few months later, and then like he started like causing a whole bunch of freaking mischief during that phase. And then like the whole thing that made me uncomfortable with drugs is the fact that like I know how this shit goes. I've dealt with like my share of like freaking friends that were like dabbling in that stuff over the years, and it's like I've you know, I'm not gonna go into like the main freaking gist of it, but I did end up telling them like some of my personal information about like knowing how this stuff is moved around, and like just stuff that I was like in the midst of and everything like that during my younger years. But yeah, I was just like, look, you're dabbling in something that you don't even know anything about. And I'm like, I know so many people around here. I've hooked up with people that have been like in this area that have like, well, not in this area, like in the main, just like where like my area, but like in Chicago in general and everything like that. And like they think like they can just like dabble in that, or they're like, I've done it during my teenage years. And I'm like, on top of the whole entire stigma, and then I'm doing criminal justice also. So it's like I'm like advocating and like writing papers for juveniles, and I'm like, okay, so being at this point where I've grown up and I've seen how this stuff actually freaking functions, and it's in our society, and how everything goes from the beginning level of how it's imported, moved around. And by import, I don't mean imported from outside of the country. I mean imported from different sources throughout the country. Before, it was one of those things that was majorly legalized, where we were distributing cannabis throughout the entire country. You were getting your freaking weed from major spots where it was already legalized prior, and it was getting moved throughout the country from like dispensaries and personal pot farms and everything like that. And it was like when you get weed from somebody, it's not like you're getting weed and like they're growing their own fucking weed. No, you're getting weed from people that are like having it imported from different areas. And then for people who are like, well, I'm growing my weed now and I've been growing my weed and I sell my like customers like my own weed, it's like they fucking probably like took the seed from some weed that was already imported from a different area and then started growing their own crops, and then it was like a bullshit version of like a crop farm, and they were probably like selling to their fucking friends and shit like that. Like I've dealt with that. I've dealt with people who thought that was a great idea, and it's like that's never anything compared to like the real level of what it actually was and like the different levels. Like people, so it's like people who have it set for a dispensary type of thing, they don't typically like distribute it as like a narcotics breakdown, because again, up until recently, like having like a gram of weed was like a major offense almost everywhere throughout the country. Like if you have like a freaking dime bag of weed, or like a, as they call it, a gram of weed, you're gonna get like maybe, honestly, you could be detained, you can get jail time, you can be fined for it. And that was like the past breakdown. Now it's like, you know, I think it's like up, I think it's like a pound or like up to like a certain amount, and then you'll actually like be in trouble for it. Now it's like that's much more lenient. But I was like, you know, that was one of those things that's like, typically when it started getting distributed throughout the country, it was another level of narcotic distribution, because people weren't just moving like marijuana, they were moving like marijuana, cocaine, heroin, meth, and let's see, they started moving these products from like different areas, distributing it throughout the country to their major people that people know as their quote-unquote dealers. But their dealers are distributing products that are given to them from people on like a pay status. It's kind of like a loan with the product, where they are able to sell a decent portion of the product and keep a portion of the profits, and they can either buy the entire set amount from their dealer and then own the product and then sell the product and keep the funds after, and then the excess funds are their profit that they've made, or they can buy the product from their major level dealer, the one who would actually be the real dealer, and they can distribute it for them, and it will be on a loan basis where they'll sell the entire product load, and then the excess profit made is for them to keep, and the other funds are to be returned to the actual dealer. Or, as certain people would say within that forte, for them to re-up, meaning to grab more of the product to distribute later. So they give them a major portion of the profits that they've made to buy another lump sum to again attempt to flip the product for like a set decent amount, enough for them to make a profit again, and then they combine the profit totals from different sale amounts to make, I would say, probably I would say they probably make like a third or a fourth of what they put into the initial purchase each time, and then in time, the sales amount and the speed in which they're able to distribute the product sets the profit margin in which they're able to make, which never truly allows them to catch up to the actual dealer that they buy and distribute for, which is honestly like extremely freaking like, when you think about it, it's like that's obvious, but people think that they can make a killing off of doing this shit, and I'm like, what you're really doing is fucking with people that don't like to play games with their money. And I'm like, that's literally like, okay, like maybe my whole entire breakdown, like my past and like personal aspects that I won't bring into like a vlog ever, because the like sav level has like led to my demeanor of who I am today. But I'm like one of those type of people, I don't play with my fucking money. Like I get like really like on that level of, don't fuck with my money, don't talk to me and be disrespectful, and don't ever fucking think that just because I'm like chill vibes all the time that I won't slap the shit out of you also. And it's been one of those things that I'm like, it's gotten me into a couple of flows with some like gangster type of guys. But that's just like, that's besides the point. But that's how our whole like major relationship ended up ending. But then okay, so anyway, so we were gonna meet up on no, we did in a meeting up on Memorial Day. He ended up like calling me like last week during like one of my assignments on his new number when I was like on my way to work, and I was like, who the heck is this? And he was like talking to me. And he was like, blah blah blah, and then he was like, oh, you're gonna act like you don't know who I am now? And I was like, oh my fucking gosh. Who did I get my number to? Because I always give my number to someone, and I don't save anyone's number unless you're like a family member or like somebody really close. So I'm like, oh my gosh, who the hell is this? Oh my gosh, like, can it be like somebody calling me back from like an application that I submitted that's pertaining towards like one of the jobs that I like really want to freaking do right now? Or can it be like one of my academic advisors or like fellow alumni like trying to freaking hit me up and tell me like an update of something that like it's like really great, or like just something? Like, if it's gonna be a number that's not saved, be something good. Don't be something that's gonna fucking annoy me or creep me out. And then like starts talking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, Roy, is that you? And he was like, oh yeah. Wait, what did you just call me? And I was like, you know, I'm gonna call you by your first name, like, because when we first started like dating and everything, he was like, yeah, my name is Tino. And I was like, what's your real name? And he was like, it's Tino, short for Valentino. And I was like, yeah, but what's your real name? Like, what's your first name? Because like I was like, we're gonna like be like moving forward, and we're gonna get past like just hanging out and talking phase. Like, maybe even if we get to like the kissing phase, I'm gonna need you to know that like I get everybody does like the nickname thing around here, but where I'm from, you actually tell people your fucking real name, and then we do nicknames after. And he was like, oh, my name is Roy Mays. And I was like, oh my gosh. And you tell people your name is fucking Tina Y. And he was like, because that's my middle name. And I was like, what's your middle name? And he was like, Valentino. I was like, oh, that's so cute. I was like, my middle name is like Kal-El. It's like freaking like Superman's name. And he was like, he did that insecure thing to get a compliment. It pissed me off like after, because he was like, yeah, it's like Valentino. Like, I don't even like it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a cute middle name. Like, your mom gave me such a cute middle name. I was like, my middle name, like, it's cute too, but it's like, it's Kal-El. It's like, it's Superman's freaking like real name. So it's like, everybody knows that. So I'm like, I used to like explain it to everybody, and we used to be like, oh, like Superman. And I'm like, yeah, like Superman, like, right? And I'm like, have you ever get like Kal-El? And then they're like, oh yeah, I have. That's your middle name? And I was like, yeah, I know. I was thinking that too. I was like, that was freaking saucy. Like, you know, for like most people, if you don't like Superman, it might like be something that doesn't really like hit like for you. But I like Superman, so I was like, okay, mom, like, good one. Freaking like saucy freaking wordplay. What if I didn't like Superman and I wanted to change my middle name? But I was like, luckily, you know, she picked a good one. But yeah, so he was like, oh yeah, you know, like, oh, thanks. And I was like, oh my gosh. Am I rubbing off on you? Like, have we been hanging out too much? Because we get like that sarcastic flow where it's like, oh my gosh, like, thanks, you know, compliment I was waiting for you to get, like, kind of thing. And I was like, you know what? Unless we like date and get married, I feel like I'm never gonna like the way that like people like portray like what they learn from me in their own personal demeanor. Because I'm like, I feel like when I do it and like I represent myself the way that I do, it's like you get that like that's the flow of who I am. And I feel like when other people do it, it's like very obvious that they're copying like my flow, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Don't go out there and be like that around other people, because you guys never know the right moments to be like me. And also, I feel like a lot of people are like less of a savage than I am, and I'm like, yo, you guys are gonna end up fucking getting yourself caught up in some drama. And then again, he did. He ended up getting to like a fight with his fucking brother, because I'm pretty sure he was mouthing off and starting drama. Like, he tried to like give me the major gist of it all. I was really worried about was like, is he okay? And he was like, yeah, you know, like, I just got out of jail. Me and my brother were in there. Like, we got into a fight, and I was like, dude, fucking like moron. Like, you always fucking jumping in some crazy ass bullshit. And it's like, after, I don't want to really know about it, but I'm like worried about you, so I'm like, you have to tell me about it, so that way when I connect with you later, I can say like, at least like I know what the fuck you're trying to tell me about. But then I was like, look, we're gonna distance ourselves from each other. Like, post breakup sesh, I was like, we're gonna stay like in contact, because it's like, you never know, like, maybe later on down the line we could fix it, maybe not. Like, with me being that type of person where like when I'm dead set on something, I literally make that split decision. I always think like, sometimes when it's somebody that I'm like in a relationship with, I always think like, maybe I can give them like the benefit of the doubt later. Like, maybe, you know, there's still that chance later in life, because I don't want to continue to like feel like I need to like pick somebody who's going to be my future spouse all the time. then I'm like, when I fucking waste my time with people, I'm like, oh my fucking gosh, like that was so fucking stupid. And then I'm like, knowing, like with me being who I am, I'm like fucking like, I like blow fucking money on like shit all the time, and I always like send people fucking money for shit. Like I had this one boyfriend, he was like, I don't want you to like buy me anything because I don't want you to think that it's gonna be like one of those things where you can just like buy me stuff. And I was like, it's not, like money isn't really like anything that's like that fucking major. Like you fucking make it and you spend it. That's how life goes. But I was like, look, overall, like I just don't want it to be something where you're telling me that you don't want me to spend money on you because you feel like you don't deserve it, because at the end of the day you're gonna end up wasting my fucking time. And it's like you're not even in this relationship because you actually feel like you should be in this relationship. You're kind of just in it because you're in it at the moment. And I was like, that's my major thing with people. And I'm like, I feel like I'm just wasting my time with certain people. And I'm like, give me some fucking ambition, some drive. Give me some like, I don't even know, like even give me somebody who's like has like a great sexual appetite and like, a nice body, and I'm like, who's still driven to fucking like get married, like help me raise kids later in the future, and be like, us, like let's do this shit. Great sex, future vibes, and stable mindset. That's all I'm asking for. Shit. Keep getting a bunch of flakes, and people think that distributing narcotics is like a fucking day job. Shit. But yeah, so we ended up connecting, and then he was like, I'm gonna like come over and hang out with you, and like we're gonna like chill. And then he started saying like some new lingo to me again, and then I was like, he was like something about bobos, and he was like, we gonna chill, and like we gonna some bobos. And I was like, I keep telling these people I speak like old English a lot of the times, and it's just like, I don't know what the fuck people are saying. Like I stopped staying up to date on the urban flow years ago, so it's like trying to stay up to date on what the hell people are saying now. It's just like, I'm like, I am 23. I'm telling you, if you were older than me and you were speaking to me in a goddamn urban lingo flow that is updated every fucking year, I'm going to stop fucking listening to any of the bullshit coming out of their mouths, because it's just like, oh my gosh, you guys make up new words all the fucking time, and they get more and more fucking just like retarded by the year. And excuse my French, I know a lot of people still feel like retarded. It's like so one of those harsh words. I've been trying to refrain from using it for like years now, actually, since I've gotten older, because I was like, oh my gosh, it's like so freaking not nice to say. But they've officially changed the term for mental retardation. They did like a few years ago, so I was like, I guess like maybe at some point it could become like PC again. You can actually like say it, and like it can be like what it wasn't, what it turned into for a decent bit as like a freaking insult. And then as an insult, not towards like the disability, but as an insult towards saying somebody's stupid, which was like the major thing with like everybody saying it for like a decent bit, because it was like, don't say retarded, because people actually are like diagnosed as like mentally retarded. And then like when you get older and you actually do research into this stuff, it's like, holy shit, they actually didn't know what the hell they were talking about, and it was something that we shouldn't have like joked about so often, because that was something that was major, that a lot of people like were like telling people, you know, I have this family member and they're like mentally retarded, and I like don't support like using that phrase. It's like a freaking insult. It's like, oh my gosh, we're like completely under fucking stand. Like, oh my god, I'm so sorry that like when people were just walking around saying retarded all the time, then nobody ever thought to explain that retarded wasn't something to just freaking say, that it was something that was actually a diagnosed freaking like mental freaking hindrance. Like, shit, people don't explain this stuff to people, and then it becomes like casual lingo within our fucking daily flow, and then the next thing you know, a whole entire fucking country is saying the exact same fucking thing all the time. Just like how much we curse, because again, we're all raised differently, but I feel like every time we start to like get back into our like normal flow of society, everybody picks up on new lingo to pick up new cursing habits. I've been working on cursing for like years now. It's like, especially when I started, like when I got back to Chicago, I was like, I had like we were like, me and Grams were like always babysitting and stuff like that. And then I was like working with childcare. Started like during like the second year of the pandemic, like when I started going back to school and everything like that. So I was like with my cousins always freaking like popping up. I'm gonna have to like curse less. I can't like curse all the time. I'm gonna have to change my demeanor because I don't want them to think that that's okay. So initially starting, whenever they were around, I wouldn't curse. So that was like hard for me because I used to curse like all the time. And then it turned into like, even when they weren't around, I just still wouldn't curse because I didn't want it to be like one of those things. Because I noticed at certain times I would want to like curse, and then I'd be like, oh, Munchie's right there. Don't curse. Don't make that something that they think is okay to do when they get older. Because like, you never know how comfortable they'll get with cursing and how they might be able to influence others with their cursing. They might make others think so it's something okay to do all the time in a bunch of different environments and in a bunch of different settings where it isn't okay, but to them they feel like it's acceptable, and they teach it to other people for it to be acceptable, as in saying retarded all the time, which is like another thing that like everybody should have worked on a lot more before the term for mental retardation was updated to a new breakdown. I'm gonna have to like probably do like a video or like a post later which updates like what it actually was. But again, this video is supposed to go to like 40 minutes at the max. That's like announced during like the 30 minutes-ish mark. And now we're at like an hour and 24 minutes, and I still haven't even gotten to the end freaking breakdown of how our official like 5-minute relationship ended, like for like good. So we ended up touching base while I was like on my way to freaking work like last week, and he was like, being all cute, and he was like all like catching like updates on like what's been going on in my life. So I told him, I was like, so I'm finishing up with my associate's degree, and I'm gonna be starting my bachelor's degree soon. I just launched a new collection for my freaking clothing brand. Let's see, I'm planning out like vacations and stuff, and I was just like explaining to him everything that I was like loving at that, well, everything that I'm loving currently, and he was like listening to like my entire spiel about it, and I was like, oh, that's so cute. Like, he hasn't done that in like a decent bit, and I was like, he went through that narcissistic phase for a bit where I couldn't really tell him anything about me because he wanted to talk about himself all the fucking time, and then it always would be something that like I would like personally, if I was him, I wouldn't like tell anybody about, because it's just like certain things are just like boundary levels for like other people's mindsets. Like, don't tell me that like you're gonna become a drug dealer when you have a 9 to 5. Like, that made me uncomfortable. Don't tell me that like you have a kid, but like you never see your kid. That makes me uncomfortable. I work with kids and I aspire to be a parent. I've been dealing with and raising kids like my entire life since I was like literally a child up until like my adulthood. And I'm like, for you to tell me that you have a kid and that you're not an active part of your kid's life, for you to tell me that you see your kid like a few times throughout the year, and for me to have dealt with that with a lot of people that were close to me throughout my life, that type of stuff makes me sick to my stomach. But I was like, look, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt again, because I'm going to hope that throughout the time that we're dating, I can rub off on you a little bit, and then you can learn to be more, I would say, more in tune with your child's life overall, and then more of an active parent. Because that stuff is it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, why fucking have a kid if you don't want to be a part of their goddamn life? I mean, no matter what, they're going to be a reflection of you, whether it be in their physical attributes or in those little like demeanor traits that they inherit, such as their attitudes and everything like that. But it's like, overall, don't have a kid if you don't want to be a part of their goddamn life. I mean, you're bringing a life into this fucking world and you're expecting it to fend for itself. Or should I say, have one parent fend for it and to take all the stress on themselves, and then to in turn release their stress when they can't handle it anymore out on that child, because you left them alone to freaking raise that child. And then in turn, that child suffers throughout because there are a lot of things that they won't be able to relate to. There's a lot of pressure that goes on during their lives. There are a lot of things that child's going to be hindered from being able to do, and there's going to be that aspect of either it's going to propel that child forward to want to try even harder, or it's going to make that child feel as though society wanted them to give up. Because I can't have that other parent. I can't be like everybody else. I can't blend in like everybody else. And I'm just gonna freaking give up and call it quits. And I'm gonna go be a fucking like drug dealer. I'm gonna be like fucking delinquent. And then once they start rolling into those phases, the next thing you freaking know, they're adult freaking constantly convicted. Well, I should say, okay, repeat convicts And it's sad because you can always help with things like that throughout the children's lives by being active parts of their lives as they grow up. And these are things that are, again, no brainers. So just seeing people walk through life and to just act like that isn't a factor of something to think about, it's sickening. Don't bring a goddamn freaking entire human being that walks, talks, you know, things that lives into this fucking world that's already freaking just like overwhelming in itself. Don't bring a new component into this fucking world to be neglected. And don't try to ever, like, people try to pat themselves on the back and say, I tried as best as I could. And it's like, people that are closest to people like that should have to tell people, you did not try as hard as you could. You weren't even an active part of their lives. And then it's like, other people are like, oh my gosh, I'm shocked. Or, oh my gosh, I already knew that. But it's like, that shouldn't be something that people should say. They should never feel like that. No matter what, nothing should stop you from being an active part of your child's life. And people think they're like paying child support. It's one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, that's like one of those things where I can't believe like they like with the custody battles and child support. There are so many perspectives of how things can go within like co-parenting relationships, or just like parenting children together in general. Relationships can then break up. So they can end in like, let's say, situations where you're paying alimony, child support, resentment towards one another, depression between spouses, between the children, treatments for how they handle such things, delinquent actions from outbursts, and how they feel at home, and exterior influences such as the people that they communicate with, what happens within their household, what happens like in like environments such as school and everything like that. And it's just, it's a lot. And to leave children to fend for themselves mentally throughout those battles, people forget how much of a toll it takes on these children as they age throughout their lives. And overall, it's like, it's a lot in itself. But again, I'm gonna finish the story because now I'm at an hour and 30 minutes, and it's like, damn. Okay, so ends up like, so we were only talking. He like listened to my freaking like general spiel, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to connect with you later because I'm like literally gonna end up like, no, I ended up having to call my team members to tell them that I was going to be getting to my assignment late, and I always called them ahead of time because I'm like, look, overall, I'm never going to be the type of person who's like, I'm just going to like pop up late and like not bring anybody into the loop. Like, I always like fill people in, especially my team members. So I ended up ending the phone call with him, calling over my team members, and I ended up connecting with him like later on throughout that day, and then I was like, oh my gosh, did we like really even chat for that? I don't think we really ended up like chatting that much later that day. But like during Memorial Day, he like called me. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna come over. I want to blow some bubbles with you. I want to hang out and everything like that." And I was like, "Look, house rules. You still can't come up to my house." And like, honestly, the major house rule that me and like Grant and everybody said wasn't that the boys couldn't come over. It's that like having people stay the night with us in the house makes everybody feel like kind of uncomfortable. Because it's like, even when people are like here, and it's like when we walk out of our rooms, it's like, if everybody didn't get the memo ahead of time, it's kind of just like really uncomfortable. And it's like, we're all really friendly, and it's like a flow, but it's still like that major just of like, it's always been like me and my Grams, and then my uncle was here, and then it's like, if anybody popped up, it was like other family members. And then it's like, now when it's like me and Gramps here, it's like me and Gramps for like a decent bit. And then I'm like, when other people like pop up, we're always like, okay, so now it's like time to like go from like our super casual flow of like, maybe we'll wear like a big t-shirt, or like we'll walk around in like our freaking like cash flow. And it's like, now it's like, all right, gotta do like our freaking like definite sweatpants, definite like maybe a sweatshirt kind of flow type of thing. Got guests here, you know, might have to like throw on a hat because our hair looks freaking crazy and stuff like that, and like everything like that. But I was like, look, the major role isn't even that he couldn't really come over, but I just told him, I was like, look, you can't come over because number one, that's how it's rolled. I don't want you to come over and start thinking that you can like pop up over here and like hang out and like spend the night again. You already know that's a no-go. And then when he got here, he was like, can I hang out? And I was like, no, we've already like discussed it, and you like can't come into the house. And it was like, oh my gosh, so like, you told me I can't come over, and I was like, no, already told you how my Grams feel. It's like, you can't come over. I was like, on the whole major level of him not being able to come over, I didn't really get a chance to fully explain it to him that that's like how I personally feel. I just literally wanted to majorly make it a point that like, I already talked to my Grams. this is an entirely uncomfortable situation because you're gonna get comfortable with like trying to pop up all over again. And the way he like tries his flow, it's like he always just like pop up like really late at night. And I'm like, that's gonna be enough. You can't like pop up really late at night around here and like just think that it's gonna be like a casual flow. Like that's no flow. And then aside from that, it's like I don't want you feeling like you can just pop up into my life and just like start just talking to my family members and jumping back into that flow like we're like casual, like we're cool. Because again, we're still not even at that level. Like when I hired him for a job to help me with like getting the stuff out of my aunt's apartment, and like I was like, I'll pay you and everything for it. Like he was like, well, like how much are you gonna pay me? And I set it to be like a generous amount, and I was like, I'll pay you personally, like from my fucking check, and like literally have that. It's like a set amount to cover the fucking like movement fees and everything like that. Like I'll pay you for my personal funds from my account, and like I'll just make it a part of like my casual expenses. So I literally like handle my regular expenses, and then I had to set like an amount to pay him out of that, and like to pay like the person that he was gonna bring. Because I was like, either I'll pay you and like the team of people, and I'll pay to like your management team, or I'll pay you and whoever you bring. And then me and my aunt ended up talking. Then we ended up just saying, look, if you can handle it and you can like pop up, you can bring like one other person, like that'll be great. And then he was like, I'll bring my brother. So I was like, I'll pay you and your brother. It'll be like a decent freaking generous amount. You guys can like go freaking like have like a freaking great time, or you guys can like use the funds for like something that'll be like good, maybe like cover like a few bills or something like that. Like I don't know, you freaking know. But it was just like it was just like a shit ton of stuff. Because like when I hired him for that, he like had a bunch of freaking awkward moments where he like got like really snippy during, and like he got like handsy where it was like that old like flow, and like I don't even know, like sometimes he acts like we're still like at that level, and I'm like I feel like he doesn't quite understand that it's like I don't feel that way about you anymore, because when I told you that it was over, it was one of those things where it was over, like that was that moment where it ended, and it's like for you to be at that mindset months later where in your mind it's like still like at that level of, well, I can just freaking just grab the phone back because like, babe, you still love me and like we'll be fine. It's like, no, like I told you, if you're gonna prioritize a bunch of bullshit over being serious and over being an adult, then you go on and live like your forever like 18 lifestyle at like 30, and I'll work my way to 30 and enjoy being a goddamn 30-year-old. But yeah, so he like popped up, and then he was like, oh, for real, like I came all this way to like see you, and he didn't. Like he literally like walked like from like a few blocks away. He always like walks around and stuff, and it's just like his car just like got like pounded and everything like that. Like when I like gave him the update and like everything going on in my life, I was like, so what's been going on in your life? And he was like, my car just got like impounded. And I was like, it's all like something like horrible and like sad with you. It makes me sad. Like not literally, but like it's like damn. But yeah, so then that'll freaking break down. So then he was like, well, I'm just gonna like go walk around for like a bit then. And I was like, okay then, you go do that. That makes I guess in his mind that makes sense to pop up and go see somebody just to like fucking not listen when they try to tell you you can't come into the house before you get there. And I told him, I was like, you can't come into my house, but we can like hang out on the porch and like just like a decent bed. Like I don't want you like popping up and trying to like be like, I don't want you to interject yourself into my freaking life or like try to like reconnect with my family before I'm even at that point when I fully want to like trust you again. Which I feel like it's like one of those, again, no-brainer kind of things, but with him, it's like kind of one of those things that like goes over his head where he doesn't like quite understand it, and he's like, why would you feel that way about me? But it's just like, that's just common sense. I don't want you to feel so you can try to even connect with my family, because you weren't even that close with them to begin with, but it's like, I would rather you not even try to connect with them when we're not even at that level where we have that connection from. So then he like started like texting me after, and he like had like an attitude, and then he like started like trying to pop off. So this is when I got like real with him, and I was like, look, stop texting me like I'm one of your niggas. Stop texting me like I'm one of your fucking like homies. Don't try to pop up and be like, oh, it's like it's freaking crazy. It's like every once in a while he like gets weird and like he starts texting me like it's like I'm one of his like homies or like friends that he's like meeting up with to like freaking like talk to about like some like bullshit, and like he's like, oh, it's like about to be a fight and it's like crazy, and like I'm like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Like, no, what the, don't fucking waste my time. Don't text me on a bunch of stupid bullshit. Don't fucking pop up after trying to do like some puppy dog fucking eyes, trying to like hold me and fucking give me a hug, and like don't fucking like pop up trying to be like all cute and then act like you're like a player after, just for me to be like, you're not a fucking player, you're not a gangster. Like walk in slow motion behind me and like be a fucking normal person and be an adult. Like don't fucking always pop up and act like you're cute, you're suave, you're like fucking like 20 years old again. Like no, you're a fucking 30-year-old man. Stop fucking walking around trying to act like you're gonna fight people. Act your own fucking age. Grow the fuck up and stop trying to fucking fight people. That it's like it doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, number one, I'm not your nigga. I'm not like one of your fucking friends that like there's like some beef because some shit just happened. Like I literally just told you can't come over. You fucking stormed off like a fucking child. Like you have an attitude. And then we're like, I'm just gonna go walk around the fucking neighborhoods and like pass time like that way. And then it's like, if you had an attitude or if you had something to say, you could have said it to me and had a conversation with me like a fucking adult, rather than walking off like a goddamn child and then texting me and then trying to turn into a completely different person over text. So then I just like completely like went off. I sent like 5 fucking voice memos, like, cursing the fuck out and telling them like, again, don't come at me like I'm one of your fucking like niggas. Don't fucking like act like it's like whatever the fuck is like your flow with people that you talk to, what like how you think you would talk to people. Don't fucking waste my time. Don't try that shit with me. Don't fuck up my fucking holiday flow. Like, I was like, this is gonna be the end of that fucking saga. I ended up calling him like the next day after though, because I was like, maybe we can make amends. No, I think I ended up calling him like later on that night actually, not like the next fucking day. I had to work like the next day, but like later on that night, and I like ended up calling him and I was like, look, baby, we can chill for like a bit, and then I had like a couple shots of tequila also, so I was like feeling like in my chill vibes. I was like, maybe we can like chill, maybe you can come over for like a little bit, maybe we can like watch some like Netflix. Like you actually could have come over for a bit, but it's gonna be on my schedule where it's like you can only come over for a fucking hour and then you need to go, and then I'll like give you the actual breakdown where it's still you can't spend the night over here, so don't expect to like start a fight with somebody and then try to run over to my house after and be like, maybe I can stay with you. Like no, that's already off the table. And then don't expect to like pop up and then be like, can I just come over, can I chill with you, babe, can I like get drunk with you, can I like just like talk with you, can we just like chill, can we kiss, can we like any of that? Like it's like, no, work your way back to like levels for shit like that, like in all honesty. But anyways, this like after I fucking like went off on him and then I blocked him and he kept trying to like text me back, and then whenever I'm like in like a freaking like flow with somebody like that, I'm not gonna read your messages because you have one chance to text me with a fucking attitude before I text you back. And I don't text paragraphs anymore. I send full-on voice memos so you can hear what I'm saying to you and how I'm going to say it to you, or should I say how I am saying it to you, so you fully fucking understand that you actually pissed me the fuck off. So he got like a decent bit of how much I was fucking not in the mood for that shit at that fucking moment. And I ended up fucking like blocking him after. I was like, I'm not reading any of that bullshit. Just send it back to me. Listen to the fucking like long ass voice memos that I fucking sent you. I sent you in multiple fucking different parts so you can grasp the concept of what I'm fucking saying to you at every fucking point as I get through the conversational fucking flow. And when you get to the end of it, realize you've been fucking blocked. So I ended up blocking him. I think he like tried to call me back a few times. He did like 2 fucking like callbacks after that, and then the calls didn't go through. I ended up checking my call log later because after I blocking people on Samsung, you get the option to delete the chat, well, actually, no. When deleting the chat, you get the option to block them also. So it's like delete chat, and then I already blocked them in the texting conversation. So it was like go back to the main conversation flow, delete the chat. It's already blocked. Go to the trash, clear it out. That way I don't go back to it later and like check it. Like, oh my gosh, maybe I should have, bring it right out. And then because I always have like conversations about like just like random BS or like freaking like ad updates and stuff like that, or like text freaking like codes and stuff like that. Like typically I don't delete those, but sometimes I do. Or it's like old conversations like guys don't talk doing everything like that. And I'm like, Samsung, it's set to like empty after 30 days. And I'm like, sometimes, you just have to go in there and clear it out early before you get tempted to go in there and bring back somebody who you shouldn't be bringing back in your life, and bring back that conversation that needs to go. And sometimes I'll like bring it back just for like the number, and then I'll save the number and then still delete the conversation after and everything like that. But it's like with that one, I was like, no, I'm just gonna freaking like delete the conversation, keep the number blocked, and then like just that for like until I'm like ready to fucking like not feel pissed off when I'm talking now. So I ended up calling him back later, and I was like, maybe like we can like chill for a bit, and then he didn't like answer the fucking phone call after, so I left him like a voicemail. His number has been blocked since like Memorial Day, so if he's attempted to call back, the call of course wouldn't go through, and I wouldn't see the notification, so I'd have to actually check my call log. But honestly, I'm ending that saga with my 5-minute boyfriend, because at some point in life, you gotta move on, and you gotta stick to that mindset that you have of doing things that are overall better for you to propel yourself forward. If you set a plan to move forward and do better things for you and others around you that are part of your life, overall, you have to do that, and not just for the betterment and the future, but for yourself and for your overall well-being. So I'm going to stick to doing that, and for Roy means going to wish you the best of luck in the future. May you find that baddie that you're looking for, and again, because I never wish anything bad on anybody, may you be a great father, and may you have good fortune later that you will bring upon yourself, and may you never hinder yourself or make a bad decision ever again that will stifle everything great that will come to you in life if you wish and want to achieve it. Alright guys, love you, and I'll catch you in the next vlog.